Web of Stories. I am Melinda, and I'm here to talk about what I'm currently reading and to talk about something that I just finished reading. First of all, I wanted to do just a little bit of housekeeping. This is the week of Christmas, which is a very big deal in our house, so this is the only video I am going to put out this week. Next week, I may go back to doing my 3 videos a week. This week, it's just going to be this one. I'm also going to wait until January to go back to doing lit chats with my son because I have a couple other things I want to cover before then. So I'll see you today, and then I will put out at least one video next week, and then we'll be in 2023. So what I am currently reading. As I've said in earlier videos, at this time of year, I start wrapping down my reading. Once I finish, I usually have a main ebook and a main print book going, and I keep those going. I try to finish them up by the end of the year, but then like my audiobooks and my extra books, once I finish them, I don't replace them with something else. So right now I'm to the point where I'm only reading my print book and my ebook. So that's pretty exciting. And I am enjoying both of them so far. I just started them, so I don't have that much to say. But my main print book is Hercule Poirot's Christmas. I'm still pretty early on in it. Poirot has not even yet made his appearance. We're starting to meet the family at the center of this. They sound wonderfully terrible, just wonderfully terrible. I think I heard this might be a little bit of like a Knives Out kind of thing. Meredith Monday Schwartz on the Currently Reading podcast talked about this on their last episode, and I think she mentioned that. So I'm looking forward to getting more into this one, and hopefully it will scratch that Christmas itch. The second book I'm reading is my ebook, and it is The Bullet That Missed, which is the third in the Thursday Murder Club series. And I love this series. It's delightful and it's a quick read. I just enjoy it. I've actually had this book sitting in my Kobo since it was released. I haven't had a chance to get to it, so I'm happy that that time has come. It is exactly what I would expect from this series. Hijinks with, you know, people both within the Thursday Murder Group and the people on the outside of it. There's all sorts of little moving pieces, and it's just delightful. I will say you're getting a little bit more into the relationship of the character of Elizabeth and her husband, Stephen, who is suffering from dementia. And that is actually really heartbreaking. It's touching and heartbreaking. And I appreciate that it's addressed a little bit more here than it was in the earlier books. But, you know, it's a very realistic part of this story. So I'm glad that Richard Osman included it. But I plan to be done with both of these in a couple days. So next week when I come back, I should have completely new books. Now, I wanted to talk about this book, which I have been reading for quite some time. I started it on November 1st. I had planned to read it through the month of November and finish it on November 30th, but then I missed some days, and I decided just as long as I finish it by the end of the year. Normally what I do is I write up a review of the books I read on Goodreads, and then I slap those into my blog with my weekly update. However, I can't review this book on Goodreads. This is an interesting sort of book. So first of all, I'm going to address the big issue that I'm having with this is I can't rate this book. If you go look at my Goodreads file, I gave it 4.5 stars or 5 stars and you round up. This is not a book that I feel that you should judge because it's someone's diaries. They weren't written to be published. From what I understand, he had plans to publish a memoir later in his life, and these diaries would have been used for material for that, but the diaries themselves, he did not write them with a mind for them to be published. So I think criticizing them in any way is just wrong. It shouldn't be done. You just need to accept it for what it is. So I thought it is what it is, and therefore what it is exactly what it should be. So I would give it 5 stars. I knocked half a star off because there are a couple times in this book where I think there was a little bit of editorial overreach, where things may have been taken out because they might not have been to a reader right now something that would be taken well, or maybe it was about another actor or someone else that might not have been taken well. So my only little quip with it is not with Alan Rickman, but with the editor. So that's why I kind of settled on 4.5 stars, but don't put a lot of stock into it because this isn't a book that should be rated. As for reviewed, it's, you know, it's his life from, I think the first diary starts in 1993. That's here. Although at the end of the book, there are some earlier diary entries. But from 1993 basically until the end of 2015, and he died in January of 2016. And it's not, as I said, it's not written with the thought of other people reading it. So it is his thoughts. It's very stream of consciousness. It's, you know, shooting off a couple sentences now when you get a chance, that sort of thing. That being said, I think the world lost not just a fantastic actor when Alan Rickman died, but a fantastic writer. And I wanted to read one entry. This entry is about a storm that he witnessed. So it's not anything to do, it's not, I mean, not that there's a plot, especially in this, but there's not, it doesn't mention anyone else. It's just him sitting through a storm. And this was July 30th of 2010. 7 a.m., sitting on one of the dry chairs inside the doorway because there's no electricity anywhere in the village. A big pile of sopping towels waiting for the washing machine upstairs, exhausted candles everywhere, the contents of the fridge staring at the kitchen from the open door, knowing their hours are numbered, the calm after the storm. From 7 to 11 p.m. it raged, script, tarantella deluged, magnificent and inventive and literally electrifying. Actually de-electrifying. For split seconds, every 20 seconds, night and day, we were merely its abject slaves trying to stop the house being flooded. Now, a cup of tea, early morning light, and the pigeon lining up on the roof tiles, dumb as ever. They probably slept through the whole thing. That's just beautiful prose. I didn't read it well. I'm sorry. I didn't read it well, but it's beautiful prose. And that's just kind of like shooting off at the top of your head for no one to read. If he had ever written any kind of prose to be published, I think it would have just been a bestseller because it's gorgeous and beautiful. There's so many things in this book that I like. He talks about all the movies and TV that he watches and his little reviews of it. And he does say towards the end that when he watches a movie or a television show or play, he watches it for the actors, not really for the show. But he has his little like 1 or 2 line reviews of it. He was one of those people, he was very self-critical. So, you know, he talks about making movies and then after it's done, everything's wrong. And then there's that feeling of insecurity about the work that you've done until it's accepted. There are a lot of famous people in here. And again, this is a diary. It's not name dropping. These are just people who are in his life. So you get to see an almost private side of them as well. The one thing that I found a little difficult reading this and trying to keep in my mind that it's just a diary. There's no overarching narrative. There's no big symbolism in this book or anything like that. It's just a diary, but there's a lot of death in this book. So I read that and I start seeing death as a theme. Now that could be because I know that he dies. I mean, I know that he died. I don't know if you can say it is because, you know, he foresaw his death and that was a big thing. It's hard to tell, but it's an interesting thing to point out because he notes when all of these people that he knows, not, you know, he may know through just his life or through his work as an actor or whatever die, he makes a note of it and noting their lives. And then I think to read this book, which is a record of his own life, is incredibly touching and fantastic book. I would say if you have ever seen an Alan Rickman movie, so that's everybody, because everybody has seen Harry Potter, and if they haven't seen Harry Potter, they have seen Die Hard. So that's the population of the world. But I think you should get this book, and even if you don't read it, even if you just pick it up and read a few passages now and then, do it. Or even if you just put it on your bookshelf, because this book is just, it's one of a kind. And it cannot be reviewed. It can't be rated, even though I had to, because that's how Goodreads works and that's how my book tracking works. But it is, I mean, it is what it is. And what it is absolutely beautiful. So get this book. And as I said, I loved it. This is going on my keeper shelf. It's going to be there. It's something that I will probably pick up time to time. And you know, oh, what was he thinking when he played Colonel Brandon and things like that. I am going to link in the description of this video. Emma Thompson wrote the foreword to this book. And there's a YouTube video of her reading that foreword live. So I'm going to put that in a link to it in the comments. So if you want to, you can check that out. But I can't recommend this book enough. Just remember what it is and don't try to fit it into the box of a memoir or try to fix it into the box of a narrative. It is just a record of someone's life, and that person was just an incredible human being. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on this book. So that's it for me this week. If you see this when it comes out and you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. If not, I hope you get some time to rest in the week ahead, and I will talk to you soon. If you like what you saw here, please subscribe, like, leave me a comment. At the end of the video, there's all the places you can follow me on the social media, and I will talk to you all soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.